They will be nice and kind to everybody. They'll be sociable and polite and nice to everybody. Whether they are in the supermarket, whether they are in the work environment, whether they are on the road. We are living in a society with others. But as far as emulating others, as imitating others, of taking our values and our lifestyle from others, we will be very cautious and very careful. So the Qur'an tells us that we should not take kafirin, kuffar, people of kufr, as our dependents, as our attorney. And I told you, if somebody says La ilaha illallah, it doesn't stop him or her from being a kafir. This is the cheap local understanding. Kufr is something that people advocate. They fought the beloved Prophet Muhammad on those bases. And he was told very clearly not to take these people as his awliya. And awliya means here, as I told you, the people whom he have given the responsibility to direct his life, to take control over his life, to set values for him, to set goals for him, to set principles for him. And I emphasize, we should not mix this up by being humanly courteous, by being civil, by being nice, by being compassionate, by responding as a member of society to the needs of others. These are basic human values. But the value of Iman, you can see it in the struggle of those who know the importance of it. Because when you lose Iman, you almost lose everything else. It's the most sacred value. And Iman has everything to do with putting a price on your life. When you are a mu'min, you put a very high price on your life. When you are a mu'min, you put a very high price on your time. When you are a mu'min, you put a very high standard on your friends. When you are a mu'min, you put a very high standard on your pursuit of life. When you don't care about Iman, you don't have a very high price. You can look at the average Muslim on a daily basis. Their time goes by and they are not growing mentally. They are not growing Qur'anically because they were misled to believe that they are already Muslims. Nothing will change that. No matter what they do or they don't do, nothing will change that. And that's the perception in the community. So Allah is putting a challenge to you and to me. He says, do not take those people who have the characteristics of kufr as people whom you should look up to, or people whom you should actually trust with your values and your principles. Because if you do that, you'll be working against the divine system. The responsibility for us to understand is a very serious one. Because the next verse that follows describes a characteristic that is not so pleasant. It says, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. You know who is a hypocrite? It could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody. Don't think because you and I have so-called Muslim names and come from a generation of Muslim family, we could never be hypocrites. Our efforts and our actions define who we are. A munafiq is someone who says beautiful words, but who have no real commitment to them. No real commitment to them. It's just the opposite he or she is working against. But with life, there's possibility of changing. All of us could change. All of us could improve. All of us can change to a better future. We can examine ourselves. We can examine our past. We can examine our current situation. And we can change to a better future. That's the option of life. And therein lies all the benefits. There is no benefit for people who fail to do what they need to do while they're alive when they're dead. And unfortunately, that's the placebo that this community gets and the Muslim world gets, generally speaking. And only a couple days ago, you're aware of it, only a couple days ago, you had a large section of the Muslim communities throughout the world doing what? Having special gatherings in their homes or their community centers. For whom? For the dead people. Right? If you study Hindu culture, it's on the same line. If you study the Roman culture, it's on the same line. They feel they gotta have an occasion and pray for the dead families. Right? This is something that they and their community have been doing for a long time, and they will feel out of place if they don't do it. And they will call any kind of, there's hardly going to be an educated person of Qur'an who will do that. Because the Qur'an teaches us to maximize life, not to lament over the dead, and to do services in the name of the dead. Because you and I cannot by proxy improve the status of a dead man or a dead woman, no matter how close or far they are from us. We can do nothing about that. What we can do, we can salvage the dead in the living. I told you in the Caribbean, there is a phrase, living dead. In Africa, it's called zombie. What it means? It means people who are alive and their life don't have meaningful value. They're in no control over their life. Somebody else is pulling the strings to their life. And nothing will stop you and me from being living zombies. But the Qur'an does not authorize us in any way, and this has nothing to do with Islam, that we should have occasions once a year, or 40 days, or 63 days, or 78 days for the dead people. What the Qur'an wants you and me to do is to analyze the life of those who passed away before. Analyze their life. Look at the kind of life they live. Take the positive from their life and put it into our life. And look at their negatives and their failures and do not fall in the same category. There are lots of people who cry and they lament for a long, long time. It's a human part of life to feel sad when we get hurt. It's normal. And lots of people show their attachment to their dear ones. But you ask those same people, have you followed the Qur'an to try to make the life of your relatives and close ones better? And bettering life is not with roti, kapra or makan. Is that all? How do you improve the mental level of your relatives? How do we improve that? How do we move our relatives who are in darkness, who are following culture and ideology that fights the Qur'an? What is our responsibility towards them? Just give them money to wear whatever clothes they want and buy whatever food they want? Is this the help? I can assure you, the lowest poverty or the worst poverty is the poverty of the mind. It's not the poverty of somebody who don't have enough shirt on their shoulders or they don't have enough food in their house. That's the biological poverty. And that's something to worry about and to care about.